for this video today is to show people how to adjust the new KYB PSF pneumatic spring forks that come on the new 2013 450 Honda and the 2013 450 Calif. KYB did a very good job at making these simple, user-friendly, and easy to adjust. So hopefully today in this video we can show you how easily it is to adjust and make this bike comfortable for whatever type of riding you're doing. We are going to offer a kit, pretty simple kit that comes with an air pump, a digital gauge that you can actually adjust from PSI to other forms of measuring pressure. It'll come with an adapter with a swivel end in case you have big bars on there and the area where you have to get in there to screw this on is limited. And depending on whether you have the Kawasaki or Honda, it'll come with an extension. Again, if you have bigger bars or the bars are moved a little further forward and you want to get this air pump up away from all the cables and the number plate, then this will come in handy for that. I'm gonna start by taking the number plates and the crossbar pads off. You don't have to do that. These screws are relatively easy to get to on both bikes. But if you have a bigger bar or maybe a different bar position, a different triple clamp that has a different bar position, it may be a little more difficult to get in there. But just for ease of this video, I'm going to start by taking these number plates off and the crossbar pads off, just to kind of make it a little bit easier to show you what's going on. Take these little screws out so you can get to the air valve. Now, standard pressure on the Kawasaki is 35 PSI. So we're going to go ahead and get the adapter that the 450 Kawi comes with, and this is a pretty simple little adapter. Take the cap off, pull the bottom off. This adapter will screw right in, and now it won't push down on the valve core that's down in here until the O-ring seats in the cap. So you're not going to lose any pressure by installing this adapter. Take your gauge. It's got a flat spot on the gauge that'll lock into the adapter. Try not to turn it by using the gauge. Just turn it to the point where it gets a little snug. Then take a 17mm wrench and very gently just lock it into place. And you'll feel it lock into place. It's super easy. Gauge will light up as soon as it senses pressure. And as soon as the thing screws in, and now we have 32 and a half, a little under 32 and a half pounds of pressure here. Now, this is going to take a little bit of air volume to fill this hose and to fill this gauge. Typically with this pump and gauge and hose, it takes about a half a pound of pressure. So if you set it, at 35 PSI, which is standard, and then you come back to check it a little bit later, just simply screwing it back on, it's going to lose a half a pound just to fill that line and gauge. So we're going to go ahead, it's a little low right now, so we're going to go ahead and just put it back to standard, which is 35. Just a few pumps of this gauge, or a few pumps. And just watch your gauge. It's going to get up. If you go a little over, it's got a little button where you can push on it to bleed it off. And it'll bounce around a little bit, but you're pretty close right there at 35, okay? Now, if you have a bigger bar on here or a different bar mount or you still have your number plate on here where you don't want to, it makes it a little harder to get down in there, then we sell this extension, or this extension comes with a kit. Again, take everything off, and you can simply screw the extension down in here. Now this extension obviously will take a little bit more volume. Still only about a half a pound, but you're going to reset it anyway. So it's just as long as you know that it's going to take up some volume to fill everything, then you won't be alarmed when it's not right exactly where you set it to begin with. Be careful of this gauge. You don't want to just throw it back in your toolbox or in the back of your truck. When you're done with it, simply disconnect it. That light will go off by itself after a little bit. And then put your cap back on so you don't get dirt down in there. And then you simply unscrew this, and again the tool will let the valve core close before the O-ring releases, so you won't lose any pressure out of here. At most you might hear the tiniest little hiss, but just probably won't hear anything. And then you're done. Once you get it dialed, and once you know the bars and triple clamps that are on your bike and pick the tools that you want to adjust it with, it's pretty simple. Just to check the air pressure in your tires, grab your gauge, screw it on, check the air pressure in your forks. If you're at a track that's really sandy or maybe even muddy where there's going to be some mud accumulated on your bike, and you want to just put another pound of pressure in it so it rides up a little higher, because your bike's going to accumulate some mud on there, or you just want it stiffer in general and you want to try it stiffer because this track has a few more jumps on it, you can just simply add a little bit more pressure and you're ready to go. And you can experiment with it during the day too. It's just keep good notes while you're testing, and so you don't lose track of where you're at. But I do always recommend that someone check the pressure when the forks are cool. These forks will get a little warm during operation, and as they get warm, the pressure will change slightly. But if you come back and throw it back on the stand and you feel that they're warm, give them a chance to cool down a little bit before you reset it. Right, now the Honda isn't much different. The only real difference is they have an air valve on top of their fork caps instead of the brass cap with the valve core down inside the cap. We're actually going to offer a kit here in the near future. It says, as you can see, these fork caps are very close to the handlebars, and if you put a bigger bar on there or want to slide your forks up, that might limit your ability to do that. So we're going to offer a fork cap along this style that will be a little bit flusher and allow you a little more room to adjust the forks and to go with bigger bars if you want to. If you buy our kit specifically for a Honda, it'll come with an adapter. This is a prototype one. It'll look a little nicer than this. It'll be all anodized pretty for you. But you can simply screw this adapter on. Again, if you have some bigger bars or just want to get everything a little bit more out of the way, this will screw on. Then you're up out of the way, or if you don't want to take your number plate or crossbar pad off, just gets it up out of the way a little bit. All right, so now we'll show you how to add or take out some oil out of these forks. Again, just remember that there is air pressure inside of it, so you obviously have to let that air pressure out using a good screwdriver that fits good. In case this screw is on here snug, you don't want to strip the screw out, so make sure you use one that fits good. Take the screw out. Use a valve core tool of any kind really, and just crack it loose and just nice and slow let the air out. You'll hear it coming out, then as it starts to slow down, you can unscrew it a little bit more. Get the core loose, and sometimes you can pull it out with the tool. If not, just a little nice and careful, a little tiny pair of needle nose pliers, just nice and carefully grab that core and pull it out. Okay? Now if you're gonna, and this is gonna show you how to take some oil out. If you have anything that measures in cc's, you can use that. Typically you're gonna take out, if you wanna make a big difference, 10 cc's. If you wanna make just a small difference, 5 cc's at a time is good. I usually recommend making a big difference at first so you can feel the difference, and then you can go back and add more later if you choose to. An easy way to do this is our fork oil bottle caps hold about 10 cc's. Right up just before the top is 10 cc's, so you can use that as a gauge. It's not the most accurate, but it actually is pretty accurate, and it's something pretty simple. You can just nice and easy. It gets about to the top. There is 10 cc's of oil taken out. Wipe it off. Drop your air valve back in, your air valve core back in. Snug it down. Put your adapter on. You can use just a household or a garage airline with an air chuck that you would use for tires, just to fill the fork back up. Just be real careful, just don't put it on there and hold it, but you can put it on there and get a little bit of volume back in there, and then connect your pump to set it accurately like I've already showed you. Okay, now we just showed you how to take oil out of the forks very simply. If you're going to reverse process and add oil, you can't. Sometimes I have a syringe that I use where you could take that core out and put the little adapter in here with a hose, and you can inject it back in the fork. But very simply, you could just get a fork cap tool that in your Kawasaki or Honda owner's manual, they have a part number in there, and they sell these tools. Pretty handy to have. But you can simply, again, making sure the pressure's out, you can simply unscrew this cap, lower your fork tube down nice and slow, and your cap full of oil right up to the edge that's 10 cc's. You can simply nice and carefully be poured back in. Okay? It's just as simple as that. Now you've added 10 cc's of oil to this fork. which reduces the airspace. It's a smaller airspace, so it's going to compress a little bit harder. It's going to ramp up a little bit quicker. It's going to be a little stiffer feeling with the same amount of air pressure. And you should be able to notice that difference very easily. And again, that's a pretty big change, so if you want to go back and split that later, you can. And then just screw it back on. Snug the cap back down. Again, put your adapter back on. And you're all done. The Honda fork would be pretty much the same way, except you have at the top again you have the valve stem right in the cap, but you would pretty much do everything the same, and the same tool, if you were going to add oil, fits right on the Honda one as well. And these are sold again by the manufacturer in their owner's manual. You know, I don't ever remember being able to go to the track and that easily being able to adjust a set of forks to track conditions or your riding ability or whatever the case may be. So again, I think these forks are capable of doing whatever you need them to do, and as long as you just again take some good notes on how you're setting the pressures and the adjustments you have, and you should be able to have fun riding these bikes. Okay, and to finish things off, I think we pretty much covered everything we need to on here. Again, we've also done a lot of testing with both of these motorcycles to enhance the overall performance of them as far as suspension and everything is concerned on the bike. Extensive amount of testing has been gone in. We've developed different pistons that we run inside when we modify the forks to make them flow a little bit better. We have valve specs for a variety of riders, so if you send your bike in and you want even better performance out of them than they come stock, we can install our new piston design that we have for these forks and change the valving to specifically suit and tailor it to your riding needs and ability and the type of tracks you're going to, and make your riding or racing experience a lot more pleasant. If you have any further questions, you're more than welcome to call Pro Circuit, ask for the suspension department. You can also go on our website and hopefully get the information you need there. And I think that's going to cover it on this video. Hopefully we've done a good job at showing you guys that these are good bikes, and the forks are pretty state of the art. I'm pretty impressed with what they've done with these.